Patrick Mahomes just turned 30 years old. He's coming off a torn ACL. The Chiefs missed the playoffs for the first time since 2014. Travis Kelce might retire. The dynasty everyone said would last forever seems to be crumbling. And yet, despite all of this, despite the injury and the worst season of his career, Patrick Mahomes has already accomplished something Aaron Rodgers never could. 3 Super Bowl rings, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, and he did it all before turning 30. So the question isn't whether Mahomes can catch Rodgers anymore. The question is, how did he pass him so quickly? And why is it not even close? Well, to find out, let's go back to where it all started, because Patrick Mahomes was never supposed to be here. Born on September 17th, 1995 in Tyler, Texas, Patrick LaVon Mahomes II came from a sports family. His dad, Pat Mahomes Sr., pitched in the big leagues for 11 seasons. That meant young Patrick grew up in MLB clubhouses, watching his father's teammates go through their routines, seeing what it took to be a professional athlete, and that work ethic became part of his DNA. By the time Mahomes was 10 years old, he could throw a baseball over 200 feet. That's not just talent, that's a genetic lottery ticket. Fast forward to high school at White House High in Texas, and Mahomes was dominating 3 sports. In basketball, he was starting on varsity as a freshman. By his senior year, averaging 19 points and 8 rebounds, nearly a double-double. There's even footage of him throwing down one-handed dunks. In baseball, he threw a no-hitter with 16 strikeouts against Michael Kopech, who went on to pitch in the major leagues. His fastball was hitting the mid-90s. The Detroit Tigers drafted him in the 37th round. Scouts said if he'd committed to baseball full-time, he would have been a 3rd or 4th round pick. But Mahomes chose football, and here's where things get weird. As a junior quarterback, Mahomes threw for 3,839 yards and 46 touchdowns. His senior year, 4,619 passing yards, 50 touchdowns, 948 rushing yards, and 15 rushing touchdowns. He was named Max Prep's National Male Athlete of the Year, but somehow Rivals, ESPN, and 247 Sports all rated him as just a 3-star recruit. Not a single Division I school outside of Texas offered him a scholarship. The recruiting services completely whiffed on him. That chip on his shoulder never went away, so Mahomes committed to Texas Tech.
It was really exciting to finally get to say I committed to Texas Tech.
As a freshman, he barely played until the season finale against Baylor. He threw for 598 yards and 6 touchdowns, setting a Big 12 freshman record. Scouts started paying attention. Then, heading into sophomore year, Mahomes had to make a choice between baseball and football. He skipped baseball games to win the starting quarterback job. Baseball's loss would be football's gain. Named the starter for 2015, Mahomes exploded. He finished with 4,653 passing yards, 36 touchdown passes, and 10 rushing touchdowns. After that season, he gave up baseball entirely. Then came his junior year in 2016, the season that changed everything. The defining moment came against Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield. The game set an FBS record with 819 total yards of offense. Mahomes threw for 5 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns despite losing 66-59. It was an instant classic. His final stats were astronomical. 5,052 passing yards leading the nation, 41 touchdown passes, and 12 rushing touchdowns. Despite Texas Tech finishing 5-7, there was no doubt Mahomes was special. Following the 2016 season, Mahomes declared for the NFL draft. The reaction was mixed. Many analysts saw Mahomes as raw, a project quarterback from an air raid offense, but one team saw something different. Future Chiefs GM Brett Veach had been lobbying for Mahomes since he was a freshman, calling him the greatest player he'd ever seen. So Kansas City traded up to the 10th overall pick, jumping ahead of the New Orleans Saints, who were ready to take Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, the second quarterback.
If Kansas City hadn't made that move, Sean Payton would have coached Mahomes. Think about that alternate history. Mahomes was selected 10th overall, the second quarterback after Trubisky went second to Chicago. Many analysts questioned the pick, calling him a project who was 2 years away. But Mahomes landed in an ideal situation with Alex Smith and Andy Reid. And before the draft, Mahomes had the most important job interview in NFL history. Reid installed part of the offense, then told Mahomes to teach it back to him. Mahomes walked to the whiteboard and recited the entire offense verbatim. Bruce Arians said Mahomes talked football like Peyton Manning and Drew Brees. He was 21 years old. After the 2017 season, Kansas City traded Smith and handed the keys to their 23-year-old quarterback. And this is where the Mahomes versus Rodgers debate really begins. When Aaron Rodgers was 24, he was still backing up Brett Favre. He hadn't started a single NFL game yet. Mahomes at 24, he was about to do something unprecedented. Most young quarterbacks get eased into starting roles, not Mahomes. Andy Reid said, "Let's open this thing up." Week 1, Mahomes threw for 256 yards and 4 touchdowns. Week 2 against Pittsburgh, 326 yards and 6 touchdowns. He became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw 10 touchdowns in the first 2 games of a season. As the season progressed, it became clear this wasn't a flash in the pan, and those no-look passes that became his signature, they started as a joke at Texas Tech. Mahomes realized he could use them to manipulate defenders. It wasn't showboating, it was peripheral vision from playing shortstop and point guard. He was looking off safeties with his eyes while his arm did the math.
And I step up here, and I just see Demarcus Robinson streaking across the field. So instead of looking at D-Rob, I was kind of giving him the look over here, and then I just...
Week 11 against the Rams on Monday Night Football became legendary. Despite losing, Mahomes threw for 478 yards and 6 touchdowns. By season's end, the numbers were historic. 5,097 passing yards, 50 touchdown passes, 66% completion percentage. He became only the second quarterback ever to throw for 5,000-plus yards and 50-plus touchdowns in a single season. The other was Peyton Manning in 2013, in his 15th season as a starter. Mahomes did it in his first. The Chiefs finished 12-4. Mahomes won NFL MVP, becoming the youngest to win since Dan Marino in 1984. They rolled through the divisional round, then faced New England in the AFC Championship. It was Brady versus Mahomes, 5-time champion, versus young superstar. Mahomes threw for 295 yards and 3 touchdowns, but the Chiefs lost 37-31 in overtime. Mahomes never touched the ball in OT. The coin flip decided it. The heartbreaking loss taught him a lesson. Being great wasn't enough. You had to be great when it mattered most. And that's exactly what separates Mahomes from Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has always been about perfection. Perfect mechanics, perfect footwork, perfect ball placement. When conditions are optimal, Rodgers is unstoppable. But when things break down, Rodgers holds the ball too long, takes sacks, or throws it away. Mahomes is different. Mahomes thrives in chaos. His mechanics aren't perfect. He throws from weird arm angles. He makes plays coaches tell you never to try. But he's fearless. And when the game's on the line, when everything's falling apart, that's when Mahomes is at his best. The 2019 season proved it. Through 5 games, Mahomes had over 1,800 passing yards with 0 interceptions. Then in Week 7 against Denver, his kneecap dislocated. The stadium went silent. Mahomes missed just 2 games. When he returned, he threw for 446 yards and 3 touchdowns. He didn't just come back, he came back better. The Chiefs finished 12-4, then the real magic happened. In the divisional round against Houston, the Chiefs fell behind 24-0 in the second quarter at home. Most teams fold. Most quarterbacks panic. Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns in the second quarter alone, erasing a 24-point deficit. The Chiefs won 51-31. In the AFC Championship against Tennessee, the Chiefs fell behind 17-7. Mahomes rallied them to a 35-24 win. He'd led his team back from double-digit deficits in consecutive playoff games. No quarterback had ever done that before. Then came Super Bowl 54 against San Francisco. With 7 minutes left, the Chiefs trailed 20-10. Mahomes led 3 consecutive touchdown drives. The Chiefs scored 21 unanswered points and won 31-20. At 24 years old, Mahomes won Super Bowl MVP, becoming the youngest quarterback to win the award.
Finally tonight here, America Strong, the fans who waited 50 years for this moment, and the halftime show that made history.
He is the 24-year-old quarterback.
When Rodgers was 24, he was still backing up Favre. Mahomes at 24 had an MVP, a Super Bowl ring. In July 2020, Kansas City signed Mahomes to a 10-year, $503 million contract, the largest in American sports history. Most players coast after getting paid. Mahomes used it as motivation. He threw for 4,740 yards and 38 touchdowns, with only 6 interceptions. The Chiefs went 14-1. They rolled through the playoffs until Super Bowl 55 against Tampa Bay. This is where the narrative gets twisted. People say Mahomes had a bad Super Bowl that Brady outplayed him. But the Chiefs' offensive line was decimated. They were starting backups at 4 of 5 positions. Mahomes was pressured on 51% of his dropbacks. He spent the entire game running for his life. The Chiefs lost 31-9, but if you actually watch that game, Mahomes was doing everything he possibly could. After the game, Tom Brady found Mahomes and told him, "You're doing it the right way. Keep it up." Mahomes didn't make excuses. He watched film, learned, and came back stronger. The 2021 season started rough. Through 6 games, he'd thrown 8 interceptions. People questioned everything. Was he figured out? Mahomes adjusted. Over the final 11 games, he threw 19 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. In the divisional round against Buffalo came one of the greatest playoff games ever. With 13 seconds left and trailing 36-33, Mahomes completed 2 passes to set up a game-tying field goal. In overtime, he hit Travis Kelce for the game winner. But in the AFC Championship, the Chiefs lost to Cincinnati. 2 straight years falling short. The narrative built. Mahomes might not win another Super Bowl anytime soon. The 2022 season was when Mahomes ended all debate. The Chiefs had traded Tyreek Hill, and many wondered if Mahomes could succeed without his #1 weapon. He threw for 5,250 yards and 41 touchdowns, leading the league in every major category. He won his 2nd MVP award.
Patrick Mahomes.
In the divisional round against Jacksonville, Mahomes injured his ankle badly. He was visibly limping. He gutted through it. In the AFC Championship against Cincinnati, playing on that injured ankle, Mahomes threw for 326 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Chiefs won 23-20. Then in Super Bowl 57 against Philadelphia, still hobbling, Mahomes threw for 182 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Chiefs won 38-35. Mahomes won his second Super Bowl MVP. At 27 years old, he had 2 rings, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and 2 league MVPs. The only other quarterback to accomplish that was Joe Montana. Heading into 2023, the Chiefs wanted to become the first team to win 3 straight Super Bowls. Their receiving core was the worst Mahomes had ever had. By his standards, it was a down year, but the Chiefs won the division. Mahomes had never won a road playoff game before. To reach the Super Bowl, he'd have to win multiple road games. He beat Buffalo on the road, then Baltimore on the road. Then came Super Bowl 58 against San Francisco. The game went to overtime. With everything on the line, Mahomes drove 75 yards and threw the game-winning touchdown. The Chiefs won 25-22. Mahomes won his 3rd Super Bowl MVP. At 28 years old, he had 3 rings, 3 Super Bowl MVPs. Aaron Rodgers at 28 had 1 Super Bowl ring, and that would be his only Super Bowl ring for the rest of his career. The Chiefs entered 2024 chasing the three-peat. They went 15-1, the best record in the NFL. Mahomes threw for 3,928 yards and 26 touchdowns with only 11 interceptions. They rolled through the divisional round and the AFC Championship, reaching their 5th Super Bowl in 6 years. But in Super Bowl 59 against Philadelphia, it all fell apart. The Chiefs lost 40-22. The 2025 season was a disaster. The Chiefs went 6-11. Mahomes threw for 3,500 yards and 22 touchdowns with 11 interceptions. Then came the devastating news. Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL. He likely won't be back until mid-2026. Travis Kelce might retire. The dynasty seems over. But here's the thing. Even with the injury, even with the worst season of his career, Patrick Mahomes has already accomplished more than Aaron Rodgers ever did. Let's break it down. Championships. Rodgers has 1 Super Bowl won 14 years ago. Mahomes has 3 Super Bowls in 6 years as a starter. Rodgers has 12 career playoff wins in 18 seasons. Mahomes has 17 playoff wins in 8 seasons. Through age 29, Rodgers had 226 touchdown passes. Mahomes has 267 touchdown passes, despite sitting his entire rookie year. Mahomes has played 28 fewer games than Rodgers had at the same age. Mahomes has more 40 touchdown seasons than Rodgers had in his entire career. He's the only player in NFL history with 5,000 plus passing yards and 50 plus touchdowns in a single season. Rodgers never hit 50 touchdowns. In the playoffs since 2018, Mahomes has 46 touchdown passes. The next closest is Josh Allen with 25. Mahomes has 17 playoff wins. The next closest is Josh Allen with 9. Here's the fundamental difference between Rodgers and Mahomes. Rodgers perfected mechanics. Mahomes transcended them. Rodgers throws from clean platforms. Mahomes throws from chaos. Rodgers is precise, surgical, flawless. Mahomes is unpredictable, fearless, inevitable. Rodgers wins when conditions are optimal. Mahomes wins because conditions are broken. That unique skill set separates Mahomes from everyone else. Sidearm, no look, backpedaling across his body, jump passes. Throws that scouts say, don't ever teach this to a kid. Mahomes doesn't break rules. He transcends them. And teammates say Mahomes remembers everything. Who doubted him? Which defense disrespected him? Which analyst said he'd regress? Then he waits. He doesn't argue narratives. He erases them. Let's compare Mahomes to Tom Brady through their first 8 seasons as a starter. Brady had 28,355 yards, 197 touchdowns, 62.5% completion, 3 Super Bowls. Mahomes has 35,939 yards, 267 touchdowns, 66% completion, 3 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs. Mahomes has 7,500 more yards, 70 more touchdowns, and a passer rating almost 12 points higher. He matched Brady in Super Bowls with more Super Bowl MVPs. Aaron Rodgers is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He'll have his number retired in Green Bay. He's one of the most talented quarterbacks ever to play. But Patrick Mahomes is already doing things no quarterback has ever done with consistency, with calm, with joy. At 30 years old, despite the ACL injury, Mahomes is just entering what should be his prime years. Most quarterbacks peak between ages 30 and 34. Tom Brady won 3 Super Bowls after turning 37. Peyton Manning won his 2nd Super Bowl at 39. If Mahomes plays until he's 40, that's 10 more seasons. At his current pace, he'd finish with over 600 passing touchdowns and over 70,000 passing yards. We've seen him come back from injury before. We've seen him prove doubters wrong again and again. The 2025 setback is just another chapter, another obstacle to overcome. This isn't disrespect to anyone who came before. This is recognition of something unprecedented. Patrick Mahomes isn't on pace to be better than Aaron Rodgers. He already is better than Rodgers. The championships prove it, the consistency proves it, the clutch performances prove it. When the pressure's highest, when everything's on the line, Mahomes delivers. Rodgers doesn't. That's the difference. Even with a torn ACL, even after missing the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes is still the greatest quarterback of this generation. And if he stays healthy, if he plays another 10 years, he might just become the greatest quarterback of all time. The question isn't whether Patrick Mahomes is great. The question is just how great will he become? The answer is still being written. If you enjoyed this video, stick with Primetime Sports, subscribe, and check out some of our other content right here.